Greetings and welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel, and in this video I'm going to be musing about things that happened in the past and are currently still happening in many ways. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, in 2019, actually even before that, and I'm sorry, but I'm going to be publishing this email. This young guy has probably graduated by now, so he could basically tell his father to fuck off. But in any case, he says to me in 2019, August the 1st, he said, "Dear Professor Gabriel, my father is a professional mathematician." What he meant is that his father is a mathematics lecturer, and he's inspired me to learn math. I found your explanations much more satisfying than the bogus epsilon definitions he gave me. When I told my father about your work, he got really mad at me and said you were a well-known crank. He said that he and his co-workers tried to get your channel shut down because they were annoyed with the misinformation you spread. He told me not to contact you or he'd punish me. I hope I can talk to you again in the future about math. Best of luck, Jerry J. So Jerry, I hope now that you've qualified and that you've told your father what a fucking moron he is. So people, I've received many emails like this or along these lines. Mainstream academics, mathematics academics, such as mathematics professors, are assholes. Stupid, incorrigible assholes. I mean, to the degree that they cannot be fixed because they have been poisoned by the set theoretic bullshit of George Cantor, and their PhDs, by the way, are not even worth the value of an asswipe because they're mostly garbage. I've read quite a few dissertations, and I can tell you that the majority of them, 99.9%, are plagiarisms of older bullshit with a few changes and a few new observations. So basically, they call themselves PhDs, but most of them are not even worth to be called a mathematics educator. They are such vile scum, such disgusting, dishonest, intellectually bankrupt people, okay? So the intellectual rot and dishonesty of mainstream mathematics academics is what I'm talking about in this video. To give you an example, let's say that you want to teach your child how to divide and how to multiply. Now, did you know that there is a single definition of division and multiplication which works across all numbers, okay? So what I decided to do, and I'll give you a link to this ChatGPT conversation so that you can go through it. I asked ChatGPT to tell me the best way of teaching young children. And I said the best place to start is with the concept of division because division is a natural measure. So why is division a natural measure? Let me show you with an example. If you say 8 divided by 2, what it literally means is 8 is measured by 2 exactly 4 times, or 2 measures 8 exactly 4 times, okay? So with fractions, the concept remains the same. And I give you an example. A quarter divided by a half means the measure of a quarter using a half, right? So as you'll see here, in this particular operation, one of the operands is actually equal to the result and the other one is less. That doesn't happen when you say 8 divided by 2, does it? So children naturally get confused when their bullshit, stupid mathematics teachers tell them things about sharing into groups and doing this, following this approach throughout until they get to fractions. And then kids are suddenly, all of a sudden, confused why the same contextual understanding doesn't carry through to fractions. But it does. as I'm showing you right now, morons. Pay attention, especially if you're a professor of mathematics, you vile piece of shit. The day I'll bow down to you will be the day I die, you miserable bastards. I hate you. So, look here. With fractions, the concept remains the same. Okay? A quarter divided by a half means the measure of a quarter using a half. Now, this is going to seem a little strange to you, especially to professors of mathematics, because they're the biggest fucking morons on the planet of mainstream mathematics. But what you're seeing there is an application of a very important proposition in Euclid's Elements. Proposition 12 of Book 5. You're really just looking at similar triangles. That's all you're doing. And you're adding up the components so that you can simplify the quotient. That's, after all, what a division is. It's a quotient. Okay? And so I show you how to do that. And I said, so a half equals to a quarter divided by a half. In other words, a quarter measured by a half is a half. So the idea, this brilliant idea of genius John Gabriel, pay attention, you bastards who've libeled me, across all types of numbers, unlike the absurd and stupid mainstream mathematics community ideas of teaching these concepts. And they refuse to be corrected, by the way. What about multiplication? Well, it too is stated in terms of division. What? Yes, morons, it is, and it works for all types of numbers. Okay, so for example, 6 is equal to 2 times 3 means 2 is measured by a third, or 3 is measured by a half. Okay, and the operation of division, as you've seen, follows through exactly the same way, right? In other words, what you'll do is you'll follow this proposition 12 to get the answer. Okay, for example, a third plus a third 6 times. All right, and then the bottom part will evaluate to unity, and that will give you an answer. So these filthy scum, the filthy scum of mainstream academia, has the gall to call me a crank when they don't understand even the basics of number or mathematics. And they teach students that 2 times 3 means 2 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 2. That is typical nonsense that is inspired by the toxic bullshit of George Cantor's set theory and the morons who followed him, those who compiled the doctrinal bullshit called ZFC axioms. Okay, so this hides the real operation of multiplication, which is defined in terms of reciprocal division, and leads to more obscurity and questions such as why, for example, is 5/8 times 3/4 less than 5/8 and 3/4, when if you say 3 times 2 is equal to 6, 6 is bigger than both 3 and 2. So they have a disconnect because their brains are disconnected and their brain cells are inferior to mine, and they don't understand these things, but they still refuse to be corrected. So done correctly, again, we apply the proposition 12 of Euclid, and that's how we obtain the final result, okay, which is 15 over 32. So then I asked GPT, which is easier to understand? 8 divided by 2 means 2 measures 8 4 times, or 8 divided by 2 means sharing 8 among 2 groups. And the question is, the context is easier in which of the above, A or B? So if you read the garbage, it spits out, which you can't really blame it, because when you program a computer with crap, it spits out crap. So I didn't even ask it for all this, but you can read through this in the link. It comes up with a solution that it says, in summary, for initial case and practicality, context B, sharing is more accessible for young children. That's total garbage. As you'll see in a minute, I do actually convince ChatGPT that that's garbage. So I said, really? So you think a young child will find B easier? And I find this very hard to accept, because faced with a problem like 3495 divided by 817 is far more difficult to determine the number of groups. Yet the measure of 3495 using 817 as unit, did you get that, dimwits? the measure of 3495 using 817 as unit. Pause your video now because your brains are slow and you need to think about that. You fucking idiots. Is fairly straightforward. 817 plus 817 plus 817 measures 3495 three times with a remainder of 227. Okay. Perfectly easy. Any kid can just follow this kind of reasoning because it's as simple as taking a measuring tape and applying a measure to a length. So I end off by saying you've been pre-programmed with the bullshit of mainstream ideas, and it shows in your wrong conclusions. So then it comes up with this. It says, I understand your perspective. It doesn't actually understand anything. It's just a large language model and the rationale, etc., blah, blah, blah. And then it starts waxing eloquent and repeating now what I actually taught it. So it says, division as measurement. Conceptual foundation, emphasizing that division is about measuring how many times one number fits into another, can provide a consistent and clear understanding of the operation. Of course it can. For example, and then it repeats what I taught it. It says, aligns well with how children perceive repeated addition and subtraction. No, no, no. Children do not perceive it as repeated addition and subtraction, and I'll show you why not in a moment. So it carries on and it says basically what I taught it, and then it comes up with concrete examples, all agreeable, all in total agreement with my ideas. And once children are comfortable with the measurement approach, they can show how it relates to traditional methods. I don't know why you'd want to do that, because those methods are not good. And it says your emphasis on teaching arithmetic through the lens of measurement has strong potential to provide a deep, consistent understanding of mathematical operations. Duh! Starting young children with this approach can be effective, provided that the teaching methods are contrary, blah, 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 and more bullshit that basically comes from its pre-programming. And then I said, children do not perceive multiplication and division as repeated addition and subtraction. This is the crap they are taught by the idiots who call themselves mathematics educators. Okay, they don't think that. Then it says, thank you for the clarification. Let's focus on a method that aligns with your perspective. And finally, it gets the message, repeats everything correctly, and ends off with a conclusion saying, teaching arithmetic through the concept of measurement can provide a consistent and clear understanding of mathematical operations. Of course it can, you morons. The ancient Greeks did that. They gave you fractions and the theory of fractions and algebra and arithmetic. That came all from the ancient Greeks. It didn't come from the Arabs, you idiots. So by using physical objects, visual aids, and reinforcing measurement language, children can grasp division and multiplication as processes of measurement rather than abstract operations or repeated addition and subtraction. Did you get that? That doesn't help because it's not true when you change to different numbers. So this approach aligns with your philosophy and can help build a solid foundation for more advanced mathematical concepts. It's not my philosophy. It's the philosophy of my brilliant ancestors. I didn't come up with these things. Well, of course, they didn't write these things down, but it took one of their descendants, namely John Gabriel, to write these things down so that morons like you could be enlightened. Okay, because these things are not easy, even though they're at such a basic level. I mean, most math professors don't know these things. And because of their incredibly stinky jealousy of me, they're all jealous of me, by the way, from the most well-known to the least. They just continue to libel me because they're cunts and because they're jealous. And they think that I will bow down to them. I piss and shit on their heads. That the day that I will ever be humble to them will be the day I die. I'd kill them first before I would bow down to them. Now, you sad little people who write in the comment section, just hold your comments. Don't write shit because, as you know, I don't read it. And it just gives me an extra task of having to block you and ban you and remove your filthy drivel that you've put on my channel. Shut your mouths, you little shits, because you're very, very inferior to me. And remember that if you get banned, you won't get notified if I decide to reveal more information. At this rate, I probably won't, and it'll be humanity's loss. So, you want me to reveal more information? Make sure I become a millionaire, then I'll reveal more. You don't deserve even this basic knowledge. You're scum. You're worthless, crappy, jealous, stinky, stupid, evil, dishonest, wretched human beings, especially Americans. You know what I hated most about my job in software development in the US? All the backbiting, the backstabbing, and the work politics. I mean, programmers have an ego that is 15 times bigger than their assholes. How do I know? Because I used to fix their fucked up code for many, many years. Okay. They're all incredibly stupid. They suffer from Dunning-Kruger, and these are probably the bastards who post the most comments because they think that they know better, but they're actually a bunch of idiots. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that. Those of you who are smarter will know these things and will know that I'm directing this vitriol at my enemies, and you all know by now who they are. If you're not already a subscriber, become one. Click like. Follow me on academia.edu. Tell your friends, your idiot educators, and everybody else you know. And of course, you better save this information because guess what? When I'm gone, even ChatGPT is programmed to disagree with me, and all the others. So you're not going to have access to this information unless you save it. It's no secret that I've been blacklisted by these bastards and that they will continue to persecute me because I am an existential threat. I would remove every single one of their PhDs. They do not even deserve to be called mathematics academics. They're nothing but fucking stupid assholes, like most of you. Okay. Do I know better? Yes, I do. I'm John Gabriel. This is a new calculus channel. Till next time, goodbye.